So in this tutorial we will see how to make a save a load system, a simple save a load system that is, and we will see two ways how to do it. Now of course there are a lot of other ways, but we're just going to use the simple ones right now. So first of all, let's get behind the idea of saving and loading. So I have this cube over here, and this is supposed to be a level. Now if I hit play, of course this cube has a rigid body, and never mind that. So that is supposed to be the position of our cube. So the next time I hit load, what do I need to have saved is of course the position of our cube and its rotation. So this is a pretty simple example. So let's try first the simple ones and let's see how it can be applied to something more advanced. So let's create a new script and let's name this save system. Now I have already made two buttons. Okay, save a load, nothing too confusing. And let's open up the save system. Let me bring it over here. So the first one way we can do it, we're not going to use either the update or start. Now Unity has already a way to save them, and that is by making use of the player prefs. And if you want to use stuff on the player prefs, you have to save either a float, an integer or a string. So the way we will do it is take the position X and we will copy paste this 3 times. Well, actually let's copy paste it 6 times altogether, and let's change the values. And this, instead of position, we will save the rotation, and the way we save the rotation is by not using dot rotation dot x. You have to use Euler angles so that they are turned into a vector 3. And the same way we will create the next ones. So this saves all the values of our transform dot position, and this saves the values of a transform dot rotation. Now of course we have saved this, but we need a way to load, and the way to load is we create a new float and we start taking values from our player prefs. So we will have to copy paste all this and change the names, and of course we will have to change all the names of the variables also. And this will be Y, this will be Z, this will be rotation X, rotation Y, and rotation Z. And now the only thing that is left to do is change the transform to position to a new vector 3 and pass the xyz, which we take in turn we take from player prefs, and then transform dot rotation equals quaternio dot Euler rx ry rz. So this is the most simple way you can save stuff. Now, player prefs, of course, it's not secured at all. You can even, if you find, you can go find it inside your disk, and the players, of course, can find it, and you can even open it with a simple Notepad++ and change the values. Now, of course, if you write, if your names over here are not that clear, your players won't know what to change, but they can still change it. Okay, so let's go back and let's add on our save. Let's add first our script over here, and then on our buttons let's drop our object that has the script, and on save system call the save state on save, and on load do the exact same thing. So if I hit play now, you will see that our cube falls, and if I click save and move my cube, move it, we don't care where it goes, and when I click load, it still loads the previous position. Okay, and this is simply how you can do a load system. Now, of course, you can load, you can save inside over here, inside player prefs. You can save a lot of stuff, like your health, your experience, the level you are in, how many enemies are left, the position of enemies, the position of whatever you can imagine. Now, this is one way to do it, but let's see something more secure. And something more secure is by using binaries to store our files. Okay, it's still not 100% secure, but it's they have to go. They have to know about encryption and deserialization to go and make changes into a binary file. Okay, it's not as simple as opening it up with a Notepad++ and making changes in it. So let's see how to write that. We will need the system namespace. We will also need the system.runtime.serialization.formatters.binary, and then the system input and output. We do not want any of this, but let's actually leave one over here so that we have so that we can copy paste it, but leave it commented out, and we do not want any of this. So the first thing we have to do into our save state is, of course, first make a reference to the binary formatter, and we do it this way. Okay, next we have to make a file stream, which we will name file, and we can call either file.copy, create, open, decrypt, delete, all this stuff. So we will go with create, and over here we have to pass the path where we save our data. So we will simply use application.persistent data path plus a name for our data, and let's call it player data dot dat. Now if you take this inside a debug .log, it will give you the exact position on your disk. Okay, so after that, of course we do not have player data. We have to create a player data class because we do not want this to derive from mono behavior. We have to create a new class, and it doesn't have to be make sure it's outside of this class, okay? And this doesn't have to be public. So let's call this player data, and we also have to include the serializer. Now, because this class doesn't take from mono behavior, we are pretty limited on the variables we can use. So let's just stick with floats, integers, and strings. So the same way as before, we will write our codes over here. Public float, rotation x, public float, rotation y, public float, rotation z. So let's go over here, and then let's say, wait a minute, so over here what we have to do now is create a new player data reference, which we will call, of course, data, and then make a new player data, and then we can use data position.x equals transfer.position.x, data.position.y equals transfer.position.y, data.position.z equals transfer.position.z, and then data.position rotation.x equals transfer.eulerangles.x, data.rotation.y equals transfer.eulerangles.y, and then data.rotation.z equals transfer.eulerangles.z. So let's delete this, we do not use them anymore. And then after we save this the variables we want to save. After we have saved them, we have to serialize our binary formatter. So we serialize the file, and the object we want to serialize is the data, and then we can close the file. So this is how we save stuff on the disk with a serializable property. So on load state, the first thing, of course, we have to do is to check if a file exists, because if it's not exists, then we can get a lot of errors, of course. So this checks if the player data, if on this path there is a player data dot dat. Then we have to create again a new binary formatter, then file stream again, file equals file with capital file F. Now instead of create, we want to use open. We have to create once again application. Maybe let's copy paste that to be safe, and then on the end you can use file mode dot, and over here you can append, create new, open or create, and turn it, whatever. So the thing we want to use is file mode dot open, and then player data will equal the binary formatter, so not a new player data, because we already have a player data, but we want to use that. So we want to deserialize the file. So we find this file on the disk and we deserialize it. But this is now just a simple object. It doesn't know what object it is. So we have to cast it. And the way we cast it is by using player data or writing in the front as player data. Okay, just so that Unity knows what type of file this is. And after that, we don't have to use anymore the file. And then we have to transform.position equals new vector 3, and then simply take the position from the data and say data.position.y, data.position.z, and for the rotation equals quaternio.euler data.rotation_x, data.rotation_y, data.rotation_z, and that is how you do it with serializing your data. So let's close that. Let's make sure our buttons have the correct functions. Okay, so let's hit play. I hit save when the box is on the air. Let's move the box. And when I hit load, you see that it returns to the position, to the previous position. So that's basically it, how you save a game. Now let's try and make it into our own, into our third person shooter game. Now I have to create two new buttons. Let's name this save, load, put it upside. Let's change the text to save, load. So let's go. Now of course we do not have our player inside over here, so let's drop our prefab, but let's change the stuff we have for our multiplayer, and move component. Let's delete the network manager. let's delete the network identity and let's start open all this. Weapon manager, character stats, and let's see if it will play now. And of course we do not have a camera holder. Yes, camera holder. And we forgot to open the camera. So it works but without a weapon, so let's enable one of these weapons and let's drop it into our weapon control. No, weapon manager. Let's drop it into our weapon manager. Not active weapon. We need it inside the weapon list. So if I hit play, now it all works as it should. Okay, so the camera holder, we know it moves from the player, it automatically moves to the position of the player, so we do not have to care about that. Now, one thing that it's wise to do is not use tags and have your safe system. So right now, as it is, if I move, let's say I move to over here and click save and it didn't work probably. Let's see what does. Let's see what problem is that, and that's not it. Oh yeah. We have to drop not this, the text into the canvas. So let's just drop this, let's just drop this or whatever. And now we won't have any errors. Okay, now we need to add an event manager, event system more so. So I saved my position, and if I go, let's go to the end of that level over here, and if I click load, nothing will happen. And that is because, let's see, I don't know. So anyway, let's see our save system. Let's see what we could use over here. So when we first create, if we save this inside the prefab, we will save a character, then the stuff, the way we have it over here, what we will need to use to save. Now of course it's not going to aim, so it's not that. We'll have to save the weapon manager, the stuff over here, so we will have to create a new to instantiate the way we do it, and into the multiplayer video we will have to instantiate a new weapon and parent it under a third person character. And of course inside our save system, where is it, we do not, inside our save system, of course we can't use a game object over here, although we can write it. It will give you errors. So instead of doing that, you can save it as an integer and say weapon type. So after that you can after you in that integer you can have all your weapons inside a list and then instantiate the weapon you have right now and parent it under the weapon, and our system will do all the other stuff. It will do. This is the way we made our system. So of course you have to save the current ammo the current weapon you have now has, and manipulate them when you load. The same way you can save the, let's save over here, public integer level. So over here you can do data dot level equals, I think it's application dot loaded level, yes, and it will return you an integer for this level. Now before you do all this, of course you will have to say application dot load level, and you will have to use data dot level. So it will load first the level and then alter the position of your character. Okay, now I think we pretty much covered all this stuff. Now this of course will not work right now because maybe our UI over here it's a little broken. Oh, and it's not broken, just it doesn't have any, it broke the references to our UI. So, or we didn't use it, I don't remember. So on our load, let's use load state, and on our save, on click, let's drop our third person character controller, then save system, save state. Now for the level to work, of course you have to go into build settings and you will say add current. Now I don't remember, no, this is the same scene, so let's delete the first one. Let's hit play. We will go close to the enemy over here, or maybe yet let's just try and shoot him. And now it gets some errors because we did some changes for the multiplayer part. So anyway, let's just simply go close to him, click save, and when I hit load, let's go far away, and when I hit load you will see that now of course it loaded the level, so it didn't save the position. So let's comment this out. Now this stuff, okay, you can do it, you can have a manager and say if the level is loaded then you can transform the position, or have don't destroy on load upon your game manager. So hit save and load, you see that without reloading the level I move back to that position. So as I said, now this way we've done it over here with transform dot, that we take whatever transform this is. Now it's not that great of course, so you can make this public transform player, and then void awake, you can say application dot don't destroy on load. How was it? Ah, yes, game object, don't destroy on load game object, or this dot transform. How was it? Wait a minute. So we do not have to call the application, and then instead of simply taking the transform, we take the player and I think that's all. So let's go back, and we will remove the save system from a third person character controller, and then create an empty game object which we will call game manager, and simply drop our save system over here and drop the transform of our player. Let's hit play, and now not only it will save the position, but it should also reload the level and move the character over there. So let's see if it works. And oh yeah, it doesn't work because we didn't drop the new functions on. We didn't make our buttons to work. Load, save system, save, and now it should probably work as it should. So let's move around a bit. Let's go near our guy over here. Let's hit save, and when I click load, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, and it also has two game managers over here. So the way you can fix this is, of course, add a tag over here. Let's call this game manager without a space. And then on awake, you can say game object game manager equals game object dot find game object with tag game manager, and if game manager is not equals this game object, then destroy game manager. So if it finds another game object with the game manager tag, it will destroy it. So let's just check this, and I think we are pretty much done. Let's save, or maybe let's go close to our guy over here, and when we hit load, we are at that level. Now, of course, you can do more checks over here, but you will have to save this, store this into an external variable, so somewhere over here, so that you do not make the transitions over here. And then you can call a side update you can call if application dot is loading level. It's not what we want. I think it was something like this. So anyway, so you can change the transform the position of your player only if it has loaded the level, instead of using it in the same frame. It loads the level. That's why, because after you load the level, it will reset to that position. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Now, of course, there are other ways you can save and serialize your data. You can use XML, you can use JSON, you can use SQL. So decide what works best for your game and what works best for the platform you are aiming to publish upon. Okay, so for instance, you can't save data on web. Okay, you have to use a server that stores the data over there and then use that. So that's a whole different approach. But the basics is we take some variables, we want to save their values, and when we run the game again from a load system, then we take the values to the previous we take the variables to the previous value. So that means the position, what health we had, and all stuff like this. Now, most games, of course, they work with a checkpoint system, so they have pretty much they only save a few stuff, like the position, like the attributes of the player, and all the other stuff goes from the logic they created the level. So for instance, let's take Call of Duty. It does a checkpoint at that part of a level because it knows the way they have scripted all the action. It knows that after a few moments of loading, it will spawn new enemies, tanks, or all this stuff. Okay, so you do not have to save everything inside the script, especially if you have your levels to be dynamic, if you have script your levels to have logic inside. So that was basically our video on how to create a save and load system. That was something it was requested a lot. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can support me on patreon.com/csharpaccent, where with $5 or more you can get access to a Google folder where I drop all my scripts, usually with notes inside them and some more guidelines that I forgot to say in the videos. And also, since it's the close to the end of the month, you will not have to wait a whole month till Patreon clears your payment and I send you permission to see inside the Google folder. Now, next week I'm going to start a new series, and it's something that I wanted to do for a lot of time. It's going to be something different from what we have right now, and it's going to be really cool. So thanks for watching once again, and I'll see you next time.